It will not take Bulldogs for some reason. All right. Well, we're live everywhere else. Welcome in to the our Week 6 reaction show, fellas. Texas, my goodness, our Locked On Sunday Reaction Squad show starts now.
You're talking ball with the SEC squad. From Alabama to Tennessee, from Georgia to Oklahoma, from Auburn to Texas, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming SEC weekend. It's the SEC squad, and we have a seat for you. Hurt feelings and thin skin are prohibited. Squad up, you're part of the SEC squad.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into our Sunday reaction show here on the SEC Squad. And today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you will get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the FanDuel app today. I'm Chris Gordy, host of Locked On SEC. We've got Brandon Olsen, Locked On Gators. We've got Luke Robinson, Locked On Bama. Stephen Willis, Locked On Ole Miss. We'll see if any of our other cohorts join us along the way. You guys can get involved with the show. Leave us a comment on whichever YouTube stream you are watching, and we'll pop your comments up as we go along. But, fellas, it was a small slate, only 5 games in the SEC, and if we even want to count Oklahoma, Kent State as one of those. But some other games that were very entertaining, very interesting, and we got to start down in Gainesville. Look at the smirk on Brandon's face. He just can't help it as Florida has a massive upset, beating Arch Manning and the Texas Longhorns 29-21 in the Swamp. Brandon, I'll let you just go.
Oh, you could let me. Yeah, I mean, we just put belt to ass. That's it. Belt to ass the entire game. That's how it was 29-21. Didn't feel that close if you were watching the game. And I don't mean that to just talk trash. I didn't mean genuinely. It didn't feel like it was an 8-point game by the end of it. Sure, you had that late touchdown to close it, but for one of the very few times in Billy Napier's tenure as the Florida Gators head coach, it genuinely felt like he had the Gators in control for the overwhelming majority of the game. And we couldn't even say that when they played USF in week 2. That's how bad this has been. But Texas was on fraud alert to begin with. We spoke about it in our group chats. We spoke about it on our shows about, hey, well, maybe Texas isn't actually that good. They beat a whole bunch of nobodies and their stats look great, but this game was always, and I'm not all of a sudden, no, Florida's right back on the high and mighty side. This was 2 offenses that struggled to do anything against good competition with 2 defenses that have been playing lights out. Florida just played better. Probably because Texas doesn't belong in the SEC, despite how great they think they are. But yeah, I mean, hey, you got your ass handed to you by Billy Napier and the Florida Gators. DJ Lagway looked at least somewhat like DJ Lagway again. Defense still doing it. I mean, Ron Roberts I think they're putting him under investigation for child abuse for what he did to Arch Manning. But man, just it feels good to be back in the win column.
Luke, Steven, what'd you make of that one yesterday?
Well, I was at the Bama game, and I just started following it on my phone because Alabama finally improved their Wi-Fi, and it was just a fun watch. It was if you didn't have the Texas Longhorn symbol on there, you would have thought they were playing ULM for a little bit. I mean, Texas just isn't that great. And look, I get it. They've got all this money invested in these players. But it does come down, you do have to be able to coach them. You do have to be able to, I mean, Dallas, for a long time, the Cowboys have had a lot of talent. I mean, we've seen teams all over the place have a lot of talent. And if you can't coach them to get in one direction, it's not going to matter. And Arch, his body language is just not Manning-esque. And I feel sorry for him to a degree because he didn't ask for everybody to call him the next big thing. But on the other hand, I'm like, well, when you're getting a big check from Vuori and everybody else, I mean, it's just the way of the world now, and you got to be able to take it. So, but his body language wasn't looking good to me. Texas was trying all these various tricks, and this defense that we've heard so much about that they've paid so much for, Florida just with an offense, by the way, that hasn't been very good. No offense to Brandon. He will admit it. They have not been very good offensively. And Florida seemed to do whatever they want to. They beat them in special teams. They beat them on defense. They beat them on offense. They just beat them every which way. And this is what we've been saying about the SEC. Texas, well, the SEC isn't so tough. We just made it to the SEC title game and only lost to Georgia twice. That's true. But y'all didn't go on the road and really play anybody. And whether that message board geniuses said that this apparently is because Texas begged and pleaded and bribed to get the easiest schedule they could get. And maybe so. I'm going to tell you what, if you think it's loud in Gainesville, just wait till you go over to Starkville, and all they have to do all week is practice ringing those cowbells. It's going to be loud. It's going to be non-fun. So good luck the rest of the way. But yeah, Texas, that just stunk.
I need to say I'm sorry to Texas fans, because all during the offseason, I said that Texas was on 8-4 watch. Little did I know that I was just pumping sunshine, apparently, because there's no way this team is winning 8 games this year. No way at all. And there's a good chance that they lose to somebody that you just don't expect them to. Losing in the Swamp, hey, I'm an Ole Miss fan. There's no shame in losing in the Swamp, especially when it's going well and they get raucous down there. But there's a chance that you end up dropping a game to Kentucky or something like that. Because what I saw in that Florida game was you getting physically beaten on both sides of the line of scrimmage. And when that happens, it's over. It's Katie bar the door. And props to Billy Napier in Florida. They had an extra week to get it going. They started handing Jaden Baugh the football. He took over that game, set the tone, and that is the identity of this Florida team. It isn't DJ Lagway, who has talent. It is Jaden Baugh. And the quicker they realize it, the better they're going to be.
Yeah, I just want to point out that Florida going into the game had 34 pressures on the entire season. They had 35 yesterday against Texas. So they doubled their season pressure numbers in one game.
Let me just throw this out, because I look, sometimes coaches say this and it's hyperbole, but my ears perked up when I heard this past week when Billy Napier said DJ Lagway just had his best week of practice of the year. And he said because look, he was unhealthy throughout the whole spring. He was in the boot right before the start of the season and all this. So again, most times you take that, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, the best way. But in other words, he was saying he's finally healthy. He's finally starting to look like himself. But I think even bigger guys, and we haven't even mentioned the name yet, Dallas Wilson. Welcome to Gainesville, the 5-star wide receiver that was the star of the spring game, which again, people told me, oh, it's just a spring game. Okay. But he broke records in their spring game for catches, receiving yards, and all that. And 6 catches for 111 yards and 2 touchdowns in his college debut. That's the best debut for a freshman receiver at Florida in program history. He set a record for yards, catches, and touchdowns, all single-game records for a Florida freshman playing in his first collegiate game. So he was a difference maker, Brandon.
Yeah, and he had a fumble recovery. Sure, he fumbled, but he had a fumble recovery.
Well, and he dragged that poor man who was trying to tackle him about 10 yards. That guy looked like he was Dallas's son begging him not to leave him and his mama and not go get cigarettes and never come back. He was just hanging on for dear life, and he was just dragging him into this. I mean, it was sad and embarrassing.
He dragged him into a celebration. Like that's how far he was dragging him. I mean, and look, as far as DJ Lagway having a look in his eyes and the best week of practice, best week out of 6 weeks of practice. That's what we're talking about here. His best practice all season, his best week of practice. There's been 6 of them. That's all he's had. He's had 6 weeks. DJ Lagway did look more comfortable. The offensive line, one of the biggest issues of this team so far. I mean, and it hasn't even been poor play. It's just been communication. They've just been leaving guys unblocked. They eliminated that. Only 6 pressures on DJ Lagway all game. I mean, and also, I'm gonna take over for a second just to talk about that timeout late in the game with 1 minute and 6 seconds left that everybody made such a big deal of. Florida had all 3 timeouts. They were up 8. It was a 3rd and 4, if I'm not mistaken. Austin Barber's helmet comes, or after the second down, Austin Barber's helmet comes off. That means that he either has to come off the field or they have to play, or they have to burn a timeout. Texas was going to decline that 10-second runoff. So the timeout had nothing to do with the 10 seconds coming off the clock. The clock was stopped because the helmet came off. And when you're in under 2 minutes, the clock starts again when the ball is snapped. So it's not like they could have said, all right, well, we're not going to call a timeout. We're just going to go out there, let the clock run. The timeout was simply get Austin Barber back on the field, your starting left tackle, who your left tackle too is Fletcher Westphal, has been injured, hasn't played a snap this whole season. Don't even know if he was really available yesterday. Would have gone to left tackle 3 on maybe the most important play of the game, and to get a play in. I hate the play call. I'll say that. I hated running a toss right there, but the timeout, like the reaction from the timeout of like, oh, this is Billy making a dumb decision. Not really. I disagree with the timeout. I will say that. I would have just ran to the right, kept my 3 timeouts, because if Texas does tie this game, then I've got all 3 timeouts in my pocket. But I also understand the thought process of, well, let's just try to get this first down here, and the timeouts don't matter. So I get it. I disagree with the call itself. But as far as everybody going like, oh, that's Billy with his dumb decisions, he's made a lot of dumb decisions. That wasn't one of them.
And the way their defense was, I know Texas scored that touchdown late, but it felt like it was going to take a Herculean effort for them to go back down and score another one. And get, so it just, I don't know. It didn't feel like Florida was in danger, but it did feel a little bit like, people were getting up in arms over, oh God, Billy, you're going to blow this. We do have a comment. Hey, Brandon, do you believe this win proves why we need to hurry up and move on from the Napier administration? Great win and great talent. I mean, this is the problem with the win, Brandon, is I thought if he loses this one and loses next week, he's fired. Winning, it feels good if you're a Florida fan, but what does this do for Napier now?
If this one win does anything involving his job security, you're already failing. One game doesn't decide anything. That's firm belief of mine. I've been pretty adamant that I'm not entirely sold they've actually made the decision yet to move on, despite how glaringly obvious it is that you should move on from Billy Napier here. Again, plain and simple, for the reason that I have championship expectations at the University of Florida. I do not believe he's the head coach that's going to win you a national championship. I think then hey, it's time to move on. Could be a blessing and a curse. I won't trade a win for anything, though. Honestly, I get it. I hate that if this does impact him staying. I don't care. I'm gonna want my team to win every single game, every single week. I wanted them to beat USF, and they lost that game too. Wanting them to win does nothing. Like me wanting them to win does nothing. If it does keep Billy, again, if you're making your entire assessment based off one game at home against an overrated team, you're going about this the wrong way anyway.
Let me address what you put up there for a second from Eric D. It says, I think you guys are overreacting and overreaching here. Texas will figure things out, but they are going to go 9-3 and 8-4. Look, I tend to agree there. I like where Steven's head is, but I do disagree. I think they'll go 8-4 because here's the rest of their schedule. Oklahoma, who may or may not have John Mateer. At Kentucky, that's a win. Even Texas can beat them. At Mississippi State, kind of a toss-up. Vanderbilt at home, don't feel great about it. And then Georgia, Georgia doesn't look super either, do they? Arkansas and Texas A&M, I think 8-4 is probably the floor. But compared to preseason expectations, that is catastrophic. And compared to what their future SEC schedules will look, it is horrible because they can't just keep getting schedules. And we know the schedules for the next 4 years. I need to go look at it for Texas. But they can't keep getting schedules the way they've gotten schedules so far.
Yeah, and you said Texas 9-3, 8-4. If they lose to Oklahoma on Saturday, they're officially on 7-5 watch.
Okay,
traveling to Stanford Stadium, playing against Texas A&M at home. Texas A&M looks legit this year. They look like they can threaten just about anybody as long as they, keep the momentum. And if Marcel Reed can get a little bit better throwing the football, they are going to be a pain. If they lose to Oklahoma on Saturday, it's 7-5 watch at this point.
What do you guys think? I mean, it is funny that Matthew Caldwell has to come in for that one play when Arch's helmet comes off and throws a dart, and it's like a 20-something yard gain. And look, I mean, let the conspiracy theorists go, but there will be people saying bench Arch and let Caldwell show what he can do as a guy who played a lot of football at Troy. But it's with Arch. Do you stay the path because he's just got to go through his growing pains and he's going to get better? Or do you go, this is just so bad right now, we're going to struggle winning games with this guy?
Look, I think –
Go ahead. Oh, well, you have to play Arch Manning because of the mobility, because that offensive line is such trash. You can't put somebody back there that can't run because they're going to get up and just get destroyed.
Yeah, that was exactly my point. Is like he's so, like, look, he didn't throw the football amazing. He still got pressured 35 times. He had 40 dropbacks, and he got pressured 35 times. Like they were on him the whole time. That wasn't strictly Arch. Arch, again, like you said it earlier, like without Arch, you lose that game by probably 5 touchdowns. His legs made big plays there. And I mean, look, in Arch's defense, despite all the Warby Parker commercials he was in, he was seeing ghosts the whole damn time. So, I mean, he's got 35 pressures is a lot. And especially Ron Roberts put on a freaking clinic with disguising everything possible. Tripped Arch up. That's going to happen to a young quarterback.
Yeah, it doesn't work out well for Warby Parker when Florida sacked him 6 times. I mean, the vision maybe not there, maybe holding the ball a little bit too long.
They could be doing a Matt Foley like I can't see too good. Is that Bill Shakespeare?
It's wild. I mean, like it did feel a little bit Jackson Arnold-ish. Like he holds the ball like, dude, you can't wait for the guy to get the ball's got to come out. And then some of the decision making, he had 2 interceptions. He really could have had 3 or 4. Like,
he was trying to play hero ball at the end of the game because he had to. That's the truth. They knew they weren't going to be able to drive. They didn't have the time to do it. They had to try and luck into a tip pass that made a 30 or 40-yard gain down the field because they got such physically dominated by Florida in that game that was really his only option. I do not fault the hero ball because Texas just got absolutely destroyed.
Well, next week, Brandon, Florida plays at Texas A&M, the Gators' 4th top 10 opponent in their first 6 games of the season. So it doesn't get any easier for Napier and the Gators.
No, which, I mean, look, because people keep talking about, did this help him stay? Like, if you have a turnaround record-wise, what you had last year with this schedule, which I think a lot of people thought would be easier. I remember last year during the Texas game, I think it was Jesse Palmer was commentating, and he was just like, hey, you keep Billy because next year your schedule is going to be easier. So you keep him in 2025. And then now everyone you play, there's not a single point in this season where you have a back-to-back stretch of not facing top 15 teams. You've got a top 15 team throughout. It's an absolute gauntlet. If you can somehow turn this around, they'll keep him. I know people keep saying 8 wins is the number. I refuse to believe that. Scott Strickland is a spineless loser. I think he's going to see 6 wins if you get to 6 and keep him. Again, I disagree with it simply because my measure is national championship. Scott has different feelings, different thoughts. I can't get into the mind of a loser, so I can't relate to that. But that's where he's at. I think it's, hey, if you get 6, you're going to stay. As much as I hate it, not up to me. But if you can do it, you got respect. I mean, if you can do that against this schedule again, it's going to happen.
Before we move on to Oklahoma or to Alabama and Vanderbilt, which Luke is chomping at the bit to, I do want to mention, I mean, Texas versus Oklahoma this coming week. My gosh, Oklahoma's defense is one of the best in the country right now. I get it. They played Kent State, but they shut them out for their first shutout in over 2 years. Sooners right now, they're 21 sacks in the country, are first in the SEC, second in the country. They're number 2 in the country in points allowed per game at 7 points per game behind just Ohio State. And they're number 1 in the country in yards allowed per game at 193. Do we think that Arch is going to, that they're going to go out there and put up 500 yards of offense on OU's defense? Like this thing could get even uglier for Texas before it gets better.
And their defense is overrated. Texas, I'll say that. Florida couldn't do a damn thing against anybody all year. Came out, marched downfield, running the football consistently, throwing the football ball. DJ Lagway completed 75% of his passes, 300 yards. Came out there. The only pick he had was where his hand got hit. I disagreed with the play call there, but hand got hit. I mean, if Texas defense can't do anything, again, I know going into the Florida game, 60 rushing yards per game. Look at who they played. And you tell me that that's impressive that they were doing that, especially when college sacks count for rushing yards. I don't think this Texas defense is that amazing. I mean, look, again, Florida scored 29 against them. They scored 33 in their 3 FBS games combined before that.
Yeah, the word of caution. The only thing I'll say, this year's been kind of weird. UCLA was a 7.5-point dog to Idle, and they beat Penn State, who they were a 24-point underdog to. And at kick, Penn State was minus 5,000 on the money line. Now, Penn State's probably not as good as we thought either. All that's true. But UCLA was stinky bodinky for it all year long. And then they show up and play. So my guess is we'll see a bit of a different Texas team. But I'm like you, I don't know that it's going to matter. I think Oklahoma's a lot better than Texas.
Yeah, and you look at it, if Penn State and Texas are ranked in the polls that come out in the next couple hours, something's
That's going to make
wrong.
me mad.
Yeah, they shouldn't even be receiving votes at this point.
I'll throw this out there too. I was trying to find the stat. Here it is. Can't. Oh, yeah. So preseason, number 1 Texas, number 2 Penn State, and number 4 Clemson are all a combined 8-7 after week 6. So preseason poll. Everybody gets so mad about preseason polls. Look, it plays itself out, right? Like if you suck at the top, you're going to fall out if you lose games. But anyway, when we return, guys, we are going to get into the other big one yesterday, and that was Chatty Cathy Diego Pavia having to eat a big one. We'll talk about that next. Hey, but first, the message from our friends at Peloton. They are shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. It is their most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors. This is training reimagined. Peloton is built for breakthrough with tools that help you plan, stay motivated, and reach peak performance. You'll love how the Peloton IQ system offers real-time strength coaching, actually tracks your reps, suggests the right weights, corrects your form, making every rep safer and smarter. Luke, this might be what you need, man. The swivel screen is a game changer. You can go from running on the tread to strength training without missing a beat, and the personalized class recommendations keep you engaged. You get workouts tailored to your vibe and energy level each week. So let yourself run, lift, flex, and push forward. We all could use this. Explore the new Peloton cross-training tread today at onepeloton.com. That's O-N-E Peloton.com. All right, gents, the other big SEC game, well, there were a couple yesterday, but the next one we'll get to is Alabama silencing Diego Pavia and Vanderbilt in their undefeated season, beating them 30-14. Ty Simpson, outstanding. Jam Miller with a career day. And how about the Alabama defense? So they gave up yards and points in the first half, but whatever halftime adjustments they made, Luke, it worked because they shut out Vandy in the second half.
Yeah, first of all, the defense looked not so hot in the first quarter, and I tweeted about it, and then that came back to haunt me, but that's okay. They gave up 113 yards rushing in the first quarter, and then I think they gave up 13 in the second, 7 in the third, and none in the fourth. So, yes, I don't know if it was necessarily halftime adjustments, because Jimmy and I talked about that today on the podcast, that they were trying to make adjustments in game, and in fact, on that 76-yard run, we had made an adjustment that was sort of unique to us, and it backfired. I mean, because they went for 76 yards or whatever it was. So sometimes you make an adjustment, it just doesn't work out. And also one thing that I guess it didn't slip my mind. I just looked over it while I was upset with the defense at first. You know, Alabama's still missing Quay Russaw, who is clearly their best player against the run and linebacker-wise. And then they were missing James Smith, who was out for that dumb targeting call, which I could go on a rant for that for 3 podcasts. And then they were also missing Jamarian Latham and Jeremiah Beeman. So, I mean, they're missing a lot of dudes. And Vandy is a well-coached team. I mean, they are just – look, Jimmy and I talked about it. We love everything about Vanderbilt. I mean, we respect it because we know how down in the dumps they've been forever, and we respect it. We just hate the Pavia aspect of it because you kind of want to like him with his story, but he can be such a jerk at times. And it's just hard to, but I kind of get it because, as I said, I don't think Vandy's not going to get fired up by a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, pasty white dude who's really good at that. They got a bunch of those dudes. They got a bunch of them. They needed somebody who, you know, you don't really know his background. It's kind of weird and sketchy. And he's strong. He doesn't give up. He doesn't quit. And look, I think he's a better quarterback than Arch by a long shot now. And even though he didn't have his best game yesterday, there were still times I just knew Alabama had him. They had him stopped, and he finds a way, or he does like these nice look away passes. You don't see a lot of no look passes in football, but he has them. He can be looking straight ahead and just throw it to the side. He had a few of those. But in the end, Alabama's defense came to play. Ty Simpson threw his first pick. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, you got to get it out of your system, right? And Jeremy Bernard still doing Jeremy Bernard things. Ryan Williams had a drop late in the game. I don't know what is going on there. Caden Proctor got another rush for a first down. And, Alabama outsmarted themselves on that first drive. All they had to do was get it was 4th and inches, just hand it to Jam, and we sort of did a play action, and that's when we threw the pick. But overall, if you're an Alabama fan, you got to be thrilled because, again, Alabama playing Vanderbilt is different now. Vandy is really, really good. I respect that team a lot. And also the backdoor cover didn't hurt.
I thought real quick, I thought this game was it was what I predicted. Like, it was going to flip from what happened last year. Last year, Bama on the road in Nashville had the bad turnover. They had the bad penalties. It flipped here. Vanderbilt played a decent enough game, at least the first half, but the red zone turnover was killer. I thought giving up the touchdown right before half was huge. For, if they just get a stop there and have a lead at halftime, okay. But when Bama ties it, you're like, oh, you're in trouble in the second half, Vandy. The interception was a bad one. Keon Sapp, what a play. I mean, literally just jumps into the territory where the receiver's going. But yeah, I just thought, hey, put it this way, Luke, if this game had been played in Nashville yesterday, maybe Vandy wins. Maybe it plays out a little bit different. Yeah.
Let me say one more thing, and I want everybody else's comments. But, one thing I think I definitely underestimated, and I talked about this summer, and because I kept thinking Jam will be our first running back, but I think somebody else will lead the team in rushing. And then when Jam got hurt, I said, I think we'll be okay because I think these other running backs are better running backs. They may be more talented, but Jam brings a soul to this team that cannot be understated. Jam picks up blitzes as well as any back. I'm talking about in the Saban era too. He just knows where to go. And also, with Jam Miller, he's going to get you 2.5 yards or 3 yards. Now, a lot of times if you need 4 yards, he may only get you 3 yards, but he's not going backwards. And the team responds to him. And I'm apologizing publicly because I just discounted what he means to this squad, and I'm not doing that anymore. That guy, he's not going to be all SEC running back. I get that. That's very fair. But sometimes you just need somebody on your team that is the heart and soul of the squad that maybe goes underappreciated by the national and league-wide media.
And also, I don't think we should discount the interception in the red zone in the second half because Vandy was going in. If they would have gotten the first down and got that, it was going to be 21-20, and that turns into a very weird game real quick. Bama gets the pick, goes down, kicks a field goal, then they put it away with a touchdown. But this Vandy team, even though they got beat by 16 points in that game, I walked away with that more respectful than going into that game with them 5-0. I mean, It was one of those things. They came into that stadium for blood. They came in there expecting to beat Alabama on their home field. And for Oklahoma fans and for Texas fans that might be watching this, Vandy doesn't do that. That's something that is completely new. But this culture, Clark Lee, we all laughed, 2 years ago when he said, I expect Vandy to be the best program in college football or something like that. But my goodness, the steep incline of their growth, it respects the heck out of me. And Alabama, if they can get past Missouri, because that Missouri game, that's a scary game. That's a scary game. If they can get past that, I think they might be fairly smooth sailing going to Atlanta.
Did we ever determine if they got rid of the rocks at Missouri?
The rocks are gone. There are no rocks. I wish
they got a chance. We got a chance.
They don't get a chance.
So, to kind of add to that, I think the thing about this
Jay
game,
Smith, by the way.
Yeah, hey guys, I'm sorry about I'm late. I had some other engagement to take care of. But the one thing that jumped out to me too in this game, this felt like a flip of last year. The turnovers is the thing that cost the team the win or the loss. And Vanderbilt turning the ball over in the red zone like that to me turned the game around. But truth be told, they were driving, they were pushing, they made Bama stretch more probably than they wanted to. which is a good thing. Sometimes you need to have a stress test on your team to understand what you need to do to clean up as the season progressed. This early stress test really helped them, especially after the big win against Georgia. Talked about this last time. I think it was actually the preview show that the biggest flaw for Kalen DeBoer is the fact that they beat Georgia like they did and lost to Florida State. It's like, hey, man, you got the horses, you got the players, you can do it. What's your excuse now? In this game, Vanderbilt kind of showed that we're a formidable opponent. Y'all not going to just push us around, just like Steven mentioned. We're not used to Vandy being this. The last time we saw this was back when James Franklin was coach. What was that, about 10, 12 years ago? It's the last time we saw Vanderbilt playing at this caliber, and now they just feel like a stronger team than even that era. They just got to continue to put it together and close games out and not actually turn the ball over at critical times.
Yeah,
is it bad that we lost the host? Is that bad?
Yeah. He had to sneeze.
Sorry, I have a cat in my face. I should have locked him up. He's being an ass, but anyway.
I think Ty Simpson's been just awesome this year, considering I feel like during the preseason or off season, I don't know about you guys, but I spend time in like Twitter spaces and people are just like, oh, there's the quarterback competition. Might be Ty, might not. If it is Ty, we're not super impressed with him. He's been hooping this year. Also, just to build off of what Steven said, because he's like, oh, for Oklahoma fans, for Texas fans, Vandy doesn't do that. Oklahoma fans, I got no beef with you till next year. Texas fans, horns down. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I was going to say, somebody asked me a couple days ago, who's the best quarterback in the SEC? And I'm like, it's some subjective. Napier got hurt, so he's out of the conversation right now. Bo Prabula, I need to see a little bit more of it. So I'm running down the list of quarterbacks, and then I came back to Ty Simpson. And I went, well, look, Trinidad, of course, has been great at Ole Miss, but, didn't start the whole year. I think Ty week 1 at Florida State was really like that O-line not giving him time made him look worse. As the weeks have gone along, I mean, he's atop the SEC in terms of quarterback play, above a 75% completion rate. Third time in 4 games he's been outstanding. So I would probably say in the moment right now, Ty Simpson. Now, Bama's got a tough road ahead. These next 5 games are going to tell us all about what kind of season Bama's going to have. But you got to give Ty Simpson props because he took a lot of crap week 1, but I think he's played outstanding these last handful of weeks.
2 of Alabama's easiest games remaining are at a South Carolina team that has maybe the number 1 pick in the NFL draft at quarterback, who may be on a resurgence by then, who knows? And in a stadium where they were famous for showing up when they weren't winning anything, and they're crazy. Or a place that is built out on the burial ground of unicorns and leprechauns and fallen spaceships at Jordan-Hare Stadium when it comes to Alabama. And no matter what the records are, they seem to give Alabama fit. So those are 2 of Alabama's easiest games left. This Missouri game, let me tell you something. Ahmad Hadi, no joke. That guy, he's something else.
Well, I'll say this too. I mean, my thing with Bama, Luke, is can they go 4-1 in these next 5? And that's at Mizzou, home for Tennessee, at South Carolina, home for LSU, home for Oklahoma. 3 of those are at home. If they go 4-1 in that stretch, the question is, you'll go into the Iron Bowl basically with a chance to finish 10-2 and be a lock for the playoff. If they go 3-2, however, man, we're going to get into a real argument at the end of the year over, well, that week 1 loss to Florida State's a good loss. That's where it's going to get really sticky for them.
There's no question. I want to address something Pimp named Slickback said. It's my favorite name on here. He said Luke was part of those people calling for Ty to be benched. Let me clarify this. What I said was after Florida State. God, that is a great avatar too. After the Florida State game.
Love it.
Yeah. After the Florida State game, I said, look, I was really worried. I was there. It was awful. It was terrible. And I was like, I think this team needs a spark. And my whole argument was, you don't get a spark by changing punters. You get a spark by changing quarterbacks. And I said several times, Ty wasn't the problem. And I think it's wrong to put blame on Ty. A lot of people were. I wasn't putting the blame on Ty. I thought the whole team was bad. And I said, but if the team needs a spark, I think you have to change the number 1 guy. And it turns out they created their own spark. After whatever happened in FSU, I am as surprised as anybody. After that week, the way they turned this around, is incredible to me because I didn't see it coming. Because I watched last year. I watched those road games last year. And so I'm shocked. I'm thrilled to death. And so, again, I'll say it. Ty Simpson is awesome. I was singing his praises all summer, and all I did was suggest, hey, if we need a spark, you need to change quarterbacks. I wouldn't call him necessarily to be benched. I definitely wasn't saying it was his fault.
Let me just address Todd's comment real quick. 3 losses will not get in the playoffs. Stop that dream. That changed this offseason. Remember, they put in the metric of strength of schedule is a determination, and they're going to reward good losses this year over crappy wins. Indiana got in last year, and they beat nobody. They're making that change this year. They're going to reward good losses. So, look, I'm not saying it's a lock. I'm saying there's a pretty good chance we get a 9-3 team, maybe 2 9-3 teams in, depending on how this thing plays out. And I would tell you right now, I think they come from the SEC, if anywhere, a 9-3 team that gets it.
Now, we'll say this. Ty Simpson gets the blame more for that USF game than he probably should, and that carried over to this season. And after the Florida State game, there was a little confirmation bias there. It's kind of like Arch Manning going against UTSA last year, and all of a sudden you get all the hype and he's going to be better than Tim Tebow and all of that stuff, Paul Feinbaum. I think the opposite is both happening at the same time. Ty Simpson is probably the best quarterback in the SEC right now. We'll joke about Trinidad and living on island time and all of that stuff. But I think he does get too much of the blame for that USF game whenever he did that.
Real quick, we did have I'm trying to reward the super chats that get in here. Brandon said, who was the last team #1 to start the season to lose 4 games in that season? I have to go back and look, but I mean, could be.
I know the last team that started out in the top 10 and lost 10 games in a season.
Yeah, that happened last year. Yeah, exactly. There's always 2 teams that start the season in the top 10 that fall out of the top 25 by the end of the season. And I think we may actually have the 2 that's so far probably going to end up being those ones. And it's going to be the biggest shocker of them all if it ends up being Texas and Penn State.
And also, Alabama didn't start #1 in 2000. They started #3, but several people picked them to win the national championship, and they went 3-8. And I was at that UCLA game, and I think they just scored again. So one other thing, Pimp Captain Slapback or whatever his name was, I can't go back to it. He said I'm backpedaling. I'm not backpedaling. I'm telling the truth. And I'll tell you this, I am wrong and I suck 100% of the time. So I have no problem telling y'all when I'm wrong and I suck. So I'm just telling you, that's all I was saying. And so I love me some Ty Simpson, and I don't want to be like, hey, I'm getting on the Ty Simpson train now. I've been on the train. I had a little bit of doubt. I wondered if I should get off at the next stop. But you know what? Now we're moving on. Let's go, Ty.
Luke, you're putting on some really good corner film right now. Good job.
Let me tell you what.
He was a 5-star recruit. He's a good player.
He's a hell of a player, and he's the son of a head football coach. He knows exactly what he's doing. It took some time, and also it's a great story in this day and age when everybody's transferring. If you don't get exactly what you want, Ty hung around Mac Jones style, and he should be, a great story for everybody.
Luke, Jam Miller with 136 yards yesterday, second best output of his career. Do you know what his best career game was?
Last year against Vandy?
USF last year.
USF, yeah, he did have a long run against you. He had like a 46-yard touchdown in that game too, yeah. But Vandy, he kicked ass last year against Vandy too.
He did.
I mean, he was one of the few.
All right, when we return here, gents, we get to a few other SEC games to talk about, including the Aggies win over Mississippi State, Georgia rolling Kentucky, and we'll also get Jay's thoughts on OU as they get ready for Red River. More Locked On SEC Squad Edition coming up next. Hey, first, guys, this episode brought to you by Square. They are your favorite neighborhood or all your favorite neighborhood spots. They run on Square. There are certain businesses that make the neighborhood the neighborhood. These are the places that become an extension of your home, whether it's your go-to sports bar where you watch all your games, the best wing spot in town, your beloved local chain that's been rooted in your community for years, your go-to coffee spot, whatever it is. These businesses are what bring people together. When neighborhood businesses thrive, the whole neighborhood thrives. And we got some great businesses that are using Square, like Bengals and Bandits in Baton Rouge. You've got Catfish Hole in Fayetteville, the Oklahoma City Zoo Amphitheater in Sooner Country. Square is a proud partner of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. You can go to square.com/go/LockedOnCollege to learn more. But before you do, Go support your favorite neighborhood spot. You'll be happy you did. Square will see you in the neighborhood. This episode also brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. And hey, right now, no better time to get in on FanDuel. Got NFL games about to kick off in just a couple minutes here. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and you get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. You pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. And just to let you guys know, there are already some Week 7 lines up there in the SEC. If you like Bama, -4.5 at Mizzou. If you like Georgia, -4.5 at Auburn. How about Texas? 3.5-point favorites over Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry game. All those lines are up there for you at FanDuel. Whether you're a casual fan or you love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. FanDuel.com. I was a little surprised at that Texas line, Jim.
I'm not. It's mainly because Michael Hawkins so far is set as the starting quarterback right now. We won't know until probably the availability report drops on Wednesday who's going to start. So
what's your offensive line still listed as Texas's offensive line?
It is.
Okay.
What's your feeling on that real
they
quick?
They apparently haven't been available all season, by the way.
Do you think Napier is going to play, Jay?
I do.
Yep.
I'm here for the tortilla presser. Shout out to him over there, the Texas A&M board that opened it up to where someone posted a picture of the tortilla presser with the selfie with John Napier, saying that John Napier said he's going to play in that game. Hey, I love how college football brings us together and creates hella of conspiracy. So yes, I am sold on the tortilla presser. I don't think he would lie to me. He presses tortillas. Like, of course he's going to show up to this game, right?
Who are you talking
Pimp name Slipback.
Oh, y'all don't know about that story? You don't know that story, Gordy?
No.
For the uninitiated, those on the Sooner Channel heard this already. So, and someone on the Texas A&M board posted that they were in line at Chipotle in Norman, and John Napier was right behind them. They went to get food, and the tortilla presser, the one that does the tortillas, asked Napier how his hand was, and he said, "I'm great. I'll be playing in the Texas game at Red River." And they posted it in the board at Texas A&M, and everybody's laughing about it. Like, come on, it's board, right? Like, nobody believes that. Well, the plot thickened. Afterwards, underneath the post, someone responded under and said, "Hey, that tortilla presser is my nephew. Here's the picture of him standing next to Napier. It really happened." And so now everybody's in like, oh my God, there's a whole conspiracy here. It sounds like John Napier has been telling people he's playing in Red River. And so now I have to believe a tortilla presser at Chipotle, which shout out to him for giving us that story.
Yeah, can you
Sounds
imagine
fair.
what Oklahoma's defensive line's about to do Saturday?
Can I,
goodness.
hey guys, I'm sorry. Pimp named Slickback. I would like to buy you a beer sometime, sir. I don't care who you cheer for. He said if you look deep in Brandon's eyes, you can tell his soul is in his feet. And I'm going to tell you something, Brandon. That is spot on. He also said Jay looks like Offset's uncle. I only vaguely know who Offset is, and I agree with him.
There are some comments, Luke.
Billy
I just
Napier's
put
still
up.
my head coach.
We just let them fly.
I love y'all, man. Y'all are great. Fans, y'all are awesome.
Real quick, because we got a few super chats. Maverick says thoughts about Michael Hawkins' play yesterday. I mean, look, it was Kent State, Jay, so it's hard to get a read. But what, 3 passing touchdowns and a rushing score?
Yeah, it felt like the Illinois State game, as in his job out there was to get into rhythm with his wide receivers in actual play. Now you have film, something to watch. You can point what goods, bads, uglies are there, and you can actually have something to assess. It just felt like they was out there just playing catch. I mean, Kent State is a really bad team. They got, 135 total yards of offense. Our defense basically destroyed them outside of the times they looked like they were bored. So, yeah, I didn't expect Michael Hawkins to really give us much. I wanted to see him pass the ball. We know he can run. We've seen what he did against Auburn last year. I did not want him to get in the mode of, I need to make big plays. No, I want to see you stand in the pocket, throw the ball. He gave us a little bit of that. There's some work that needs to be done, especially as we prepare for Texas. But as everyone on the panel has pointed out, if Texas offensive line is going to be at that same game, things could get a little squirrely quickly. So that's kind of my assessment on Michael Hawkins right now.
This is hit the under, right? Like if it's Hawkins starting at quarterback versus
Yeah.
offense,
I'm taking the under if it's Hawkins.
This will be a 20-17 type game or something like that.
If Oklahoma scores 20 points, they're going to win going away.
Easily. Yeah. And because God, I did not realize, because I know y'all talked about Texas and Florida earlier, but my goodness. Like, it's funny because so the biggest problem with Oklahoma right now is everyone's concerned about the run game. And what's funny is when some of the other pundits out there picked Florida to win this game, all the Texas respondents were, was Florida going to find a run game all of a sudden? Are they going to figure out how to run? In which Florida is 13th in the SEC in rushing. Oklahoma's 12th. We're right there next to each other. But then Florida ran it down their throat. So it was like, oh, so you don't really have to have that grade of run blocking to start. You're going to continue to gradually get better, and you're going to do that against Texas. And I was like, oh, so yeah, I think we should be fine. Because Florida, they literally just ran it down their throat. It was
no
27 carries for
run
107 yards.
Yeah, had no problem finding a run game there. 9 carries for 40 yards for Duke Clark in his first time ever seeing significant snaps in his career. Vernell Brown III had a 14-yard carry. Yeah, Texas, not that hard to run against. Again, like I said, 60 rushing yards allowed per game going into that game. Good job. Mm-hmm. Look who they played, because it was absolutely freaking nobody. They've gotten their ass handed to them. That's it. Congratulations. You're 0-2 against Power 4 teams, but congratulations on beating else everyone. You're in the SEC, though.
Yeah, guys, that's going to be fascinating.
Let's jump. We only got 14 minutes left. Texas A&M beat Mississippi State last night, 31-9. If you watch this game, though, the Aggies led just 7-3 at halftime. Took a long time for their offense to get going, and it was a little concerning because last week against Auburn, drives kept stalling. Marcel Reed, just a little inconsistent, but their run game eventually wore down the Bulldogs. They rushed for over 300 yards on the night. Ruben Owens got loose. The pass catchers, Mario Craver and Casey Concepcion, continue to be awesome when they get the ball in their hands. And then A&M's defense, 4 sacks on the night with a pick. A&M's defense looked much better these last 2 weeks. They gave up, 3 weeks ago, they gave up 40 on the road at Notre Dame. And then here they are, held Auburn to 10 last week and State to 9 this week. And that was a Jeff Levy offense that was really humming this year. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. What do y'all think of Texas A&M?
They grind it. They grind it. They grind games. That's the one thing I'll give them. They grind their wins out. And that's not a bad thing when you're talking about a conference like the SEC where things get really tough and you got to be able to will your way late in games. The Florida game coming up is going to be very interesting to see who grinds this one out. They're at home. So we know Marcel Reed has been up and down in the pass game, and it feels like Florida's finding their identities and Lagway is settling in. So the question is going to be truly play call and who's going to grind it out. But that's what it feels like to me. All I see them do is just grind. And the good thing that for them has been second half is when they start to trend up. Like first half, it's like this nonstop. And then it starts to slowly go up. And that's actually kind of how you want your team to play. But if you're playing against a team that's really prolific, you may run into problems. But it's not awful. That's all I can say. It's not awful.
I would not feel super confident. I would not feel super confident if I were A&M with Florida coming into town, because this is, sometime in the second half of last year is when Florida began to turn it around, and now they're coming in with a ton of confidence. And Florida has been through the ringer. I mean, they have faced the battles, and Texas A&M has to an extent. I mean, going to Notre Dame and winning, no joke. Holding off that Auburn team, again, no joke. But Florida has battle tested. So, and the other thing is Mario Craver. He's such a dude. I'm with the AHSA radio network here, and I get to call a lot of these high school guys. I loved me some Mario Craver. I couldn't believe that he ended up at Mississippi State, and I was begging for Alabama to get him because he is a dude.
One thing that's interesting about Texas A&M, I wonder if they are a little bit of a front-runner team, because if they get up on you to where they can force you to drop back and throw the ball and it's like 3rd and long and it gets predictable, Elko will eat your offense up and it doesn't matter who you have. But what happens when they get down by 14? What happens when they get down by 17? And Marcel Reed is forced to kind of up his game to lead a comeback. That is my question with A&M. We haven't seen it yet, but I guarantee you we will see it over the next couple of weeks. But if they get the lead on you, they will literally put their foot on your throat, and there's nothing you can do.
I will say he did lead a comeback at Notre Dame on the road, but there was no defense at all. It
wasn't 2 scores, was it?
No. But
Yeah.
you know, let him on a game-winning drive in the final minute. I just wonder too, if they get down 2 touchdowns, what is their identity? Because they seem to be pretty balanced. They showed the first few weeks, oh, look at we can throw. We knew they could run the ball, and they did that last night pretty dominantly. But you know, that's the thing. If they get down double digits, do they still stick with the run, or do they panic and go, we got to throw it? And Marcel Reed still at times showing he'll make that big mistake. You know, and that's where some people are like, they'll go as far as Marcel Reed can carry him. Well, that's where I kind of question. And here's the thing with A&M. They get Florida this week at home. That's 3 straight home SEC games. After this Florida game, they have 3 straight road games in the SEC, at Arkansas, at LSU, and at Mizzou. And we'll see what Arkansas looks like with Bobby Petrino running the show now. So maybe they get better and, you know, more, I don't know, you know, want to play for the guy that used to be the guy. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, this is like with everybody in the SEC, man. Like we're looking going, it's a good team, but God, there's a tough road ahead. It seems to apply for just about everybody.
Yeah, when A&M goes on the road, it's going to be really interesting because they've been a decently penalized team so far on offense. And it's like, well, you're getting penalized at home. When you go on the road, it gets a hell of a lot harder. That was one of the things I talked about with the Texas game, is that Texas had a lot of penalties, and they were playing almost exclusively at home. They played at Ohio State, didn't have that many penalties, and then they were at home, still kept getting penalized. Went on the road against Florida, they had a ton of penalties that were backbreaking, especially late in the game. A&M's had penalties. If you get into trouble with that on the road, that's going to be tough. I just know that with this Florida game, that run game early on is going to be really important for Texas A&M's offense, because Florida's run defense has been stout. I mean, they've just been punching people in the mouth there. I mean, Texas stopped trying. Texas just gave up trying there. And so if Texas A&M can't run the football, Marcel Reed needs to play quarterback. And I mean, look, he played a great game last year when he was an impromptu starter against Florida. That was before the turnaround. He seems to be facing Florida now as they might be on an upswing.
They held Trey Wisner to 8 carries for 11 yards or something. I mean, you're talking about the 3rd leading rusher in the SEC last year, just completely shut him down. So that's going to be the big one. I mean, we know the bread and butter of A&M, Lavian Moss, Amari Daniels, all those guys in that backfield. And if Florida can slow them down, they'll have a chance. One more here, guys, real quick. Georgia rolled Kentucky yesterday, 35-14. Georgia now 4-1. Georgia led 21-7 at halftime. Kentucky had some chances. They blew them. I mean, Mark Stoops showing every day that he is dead man walking. But it's funny because the odds a few days ago, guys, would have been Billy Napier was going to be the next SEC head coach fired. I think that's flipped. I think Mark Stoops now probably in the driver's seat, because Kentucky is now 2-3 overall, 0-3 in the SEC. And Kentucky has now lost 12 of their last 13 SEC games under Mark Stoops. So
yeah, those odds were always wrong. Those odds were always wrong because Scott Strickland's a loser, not because Billy Napier didn't deserve to be fired, but because Scott Strickland was a loser, he was never going to be the first one to pull the trigger. But that Kentucky-Georgia game, like the first quarter felt like it was about to be a really weird, messy, ugly game. I have personal issues now with Gunnar Stockton and really just that entire coaching staff, because I had Gunnar Stockton over 196.5 passing yards. And I thought I was pretty in the clear when we were in the third quarter, and he had 196 passing yards, and then he just didn't throw the football again for the remainder of the game. So yeah, I got some beef with all of Georgia right now. As if I didn't already have beef with them, now I've got even more.
Listen, everybody knows how much I hate on Hugh Freeze at Auburn, and I've done that over the last several weeks. Auburn's about to beat Georgia. They are about to beat Georgia and Jordan Hare. Night game, ghouls and goblins, all of that stuff. Auburn's about to pull out that game.
It is Cam Newton jersey retirement ceremony too. So I mean Auburn has not been home, in a while. They've played all these SEC games on the road. I think Auburn's offense is going to look better at home, and if it doesn't, Hugh Freeze will be fired.
Doesn't Damon Wilson, who transferred to Missouri, have more pressures than all of Georgia's defensive line?
Something
this
like
year.
That. I saw that stat.
Yeah. And look, I'm with you. I think this is a very tricky game for Georgia, and really just not because of voodoo, because Georgia may not be that good. They just don't have the dudes this year. Mm-hmm. However, I always sort of temper it with this Kentucky game, I don't want to judge them too harshly on it because you talk about a bad sandwich game. I mean, it's like right after an Alabama loss and you're probably still stewing over that. Then you got to play a Kentucky team at 11 o'clock in the morning, and then you go on the road to Auburn. Your mind's probably elsewhere because Kentucky's bad enough where you can let it be elsewhere.
Yeah, and the week after Auburn is their game against Ole Miss.
Yeah, that is going to be difficult.
Yeah.
I don't know why we're getting half our comments are about Brandon's hair.
I think you're jealous. That's it.
It's glorious.
They did ask Jay to give you some hair tips, though, Brandon. So I don't know.
I don't think that'll work. I want to throw that out there.
I don't think it'll work.
Something tells me that isn't going to work, but I appreciate it.
Just a couple more minutes here, guys. Anything you want to get off your chest?
Can we please, for the love of God, get rid of it? Targeting is making me so mad. I don't understand why. Okay, if you make a bad targeting call in game and you're like, okay, he's going to have to miss first half of the next game. Then if the office reviews and goes, you know what, we kind of screwed this up. We should make it where you can take off that you have to skip the first half thing. That's so dumb. Is there any other penalty where you have to one game, your penalty in one game affects the next game? Is there any other penalty anywhere like that?
Yeah, I've been against that for a while. If you want to call a guy for targeting and eject them, fine. But to have it carry over to the next game is absolutely ludicrous. They don't do that in the NFL unless you get like a multiple game suspension or something. I think that's absurd, and I think we need to define somebody tweeted this yesterday, and they said replay is killing the sport. How many times yesterday, early in games, we had to go to replay for just the dumbest stuff, and stuff that's so quick that the TV booth shows the replay, and you go, "Oh, that's clearly a catch. Oh, clearly the ball was out. They got it right." That should just be instantaneous. Instead, we got to waste 5-10 minutes on these reviews, and it's like, dude, you're killing the flow of the game. Do y'all realize the Texas-Florida game was at well into halftime before Alabama and Vandy got there, and yet both games were finishing at about the same time?
Yeah,
because of all this dead stoppage of plays or reviews and stuff. It's silly.
Yeah, the only stupid stoppage Florida had early on was Hayden Henson fumbled, and it was the most obvious thing. Like, he caught it, turned, took like 4 steps, and then it got punched out. And they're like, "Oh, well, let's review this." It's like, you don't need to. I'm a Florida fan. Hayden's on the show every Wednesday. If anybody's going to be biased for him, it's going to be me. You didn't need to review it at all. We got it. We didn't need to go to the booth and talk about that for a while.
Yeah, the targeting rule, there needs to be like college basketball where there's a targeting 1 and a targeting 2. And you have to have the egregious thing to where you're sitting out, and otherwise it's just a 15-yard penalty.
Yeah, I agree. It doesn't make any sense. There's no consistency. Like, it was at the Penn State Oregon game where that dude literally targeted the dude, knocked him while he was on the ground. They didn't call targeting at all.
No, they didn't even review it.
They didn't even review it. And then, like, I have to, of course, I'm going to twist it back to Oklahoma, but our edge goes out there and tries to not hit a quarterback and has his hands up, and they call him for targeting because he jumped in the air. And it's like, what? Like, I understand player safety, but let's use our brain.
Also, it is football. I mean,
it's a dangerous sport.
Safety and all is great, but this is a very dangerous sport by nature. And people choose to play it. And if I had the ability, I would have played it. I'm just saying that it's a wonderful sport, but it is dangerous.
I didn't realize that rule on if the ball could touch the ground as long as you have full control of the catch. Yeah. I thought that was interesting. Billy Napier didn't know the rule. Like, oh, okay, I guess.
Well, I'm pretty sure this year is the first year they did it, but this year is also the year that no one knows anything about what a catch is or what isn't a catch. No. So.
Yeah, we need to stop with that. If a guy catches the ball and it looks like he's caught it and then his elbow touches out of bat, like, what are we doing? Stop overcomplicating. It's a catch. Just call it a catch. Like,
maybe we should just do challenges. Could we just do challenges? That would help.
Yeah. If you catch the ball and you're going to the ground, it's like you have to survive the ground with the catch. Well, the defender's got his arm in there trying to rip the ball out all the way down when the ground hits. You didn't mess that up. They just completely took the opportunity to force an incomplete pass as it continued. That's the defensive player trying to take advantage of the rules, not the ball surviving the ground.
Real quick, guys, before we wrap up, we had somebody ask about our Longhorn guy. Brad Kellner he's got other jobs and channels he runs and stuff. He's just rarely ever available when we do these. We invite him. He's always invited. So we'll hope to get our Locked On Texas
love
guy on here. And then same thing with Matt Moscona. He's got a million things going on with Locked On LSU. And so is people asking where he is. So anyway, just let the invite is always open to all of our guys. It's just who can make it and who can't. So
Brad Kellner was on Locked On Gators for Thursday. Felt pretty confident about Texas. Just want to throw that one out there. Just want to throw that out there.
Hey,
Jeez.
Lane Train just got a big 2027 quarterback commit. We're rolling.
Are we celebrating 2027 recruits though? In this day and
We
age,
celebrate everything.
Yep.
Everything.
in 2 months he'll be committed to somebody else. That's how this
Yeah,
thing goes.
and if that happens, we'll pretend like he doesn't exist.
All right, fellas, this has been our Locked On Sunday Squad edition. And hey, a reminder on Thursdays, you can check out our college football kickoff show every Thursday on Fire TV with former AP Coach of the Year Gary Patterson, with Jesse Hawley and Drake Toll, getting you guys previewed for the whole weekend that's to come. And of course, you can check out all of our Locked On great shows. Whatever school you're a fan of, just search Locked On in that school and you'll find that show. Or if you just want the whole conference, I've got you covered with Locked On SEC. But for Brandon Olsen, Jay Smith, Luke Robinson, Stephen Willis, I'm Chris Gordy. We'll talk to you guys coming up later this week, Thursday, with our Locked On Squad show.